Hi, this is Jim McConnell coming to you from Redmond, Oregon, LEHQ, and we're starting Chemist Corners once again. Today we're going to talk about the quality cure that you get from the LED dot mini versus the regular LED dot. And I brought in a special guest today, which is the C&D new LED curing light, because we have had quite a few inquiries on will the dot cure or the mini cure the C&D product, and if so, how will it? And the only way we can really tell that is to put it to the test, comparing it up against the C&D curing light. So let us begin. We're going to test primarily our Perfect White. Our Perfect White is the gel that I personally use to check the curing ability of a curing lamp. And so it's nice, it's opaque, it's common, it's one of our most common whites that we sell, and it gives me a good solid number. We'll go ahead and compare those two, and I'll also toss it into the C&D curing light. So let's begin. I've already pre-smeared some of the gel onto the forms, and I'm going to put that all the way in the back so it's on. I'm going to do the same thing here with the mini all the way in the back, and then I'm going to put the same product into the C&D light all the way to the back. So everything's going to cure 60 seconds. While those are curing, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the difference between the dot and the dot mini. So the dot is our professional curing light, does all 5 fingers at one time. As you're probably fully aware, it does 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 120 second setting. On the 120-second setting, it does cure products starting out at a 25% cure intensity, ramping its way up to a full 100% cure after 60 seconds. And then the last minute is spent at the full 100% cure. The mini is only a 60-second cure, and it's 100%. So if you're concerned or questioning whether you have an exothermic reaction in the mini that you're not going to experience in the dot, you will possibly have that exothermic reaction, and it could be pretty intense. If that's the case, you want to turn the mini on and then put your hand in, and then for 2 seconds, and pull it out for about 5, and put it back in again for 2 seconds and pull it out for 5. And then you can control the amount of exothermic reaction that the customer experiences. And in these cases, everything's been cured for 60 seconds. Now what we're going to do, first turn that off. So we have these little plastic pieces, and we're going to go ahead and measure the cure thickness of the piece of plastic. So the dot cured at 25.5 thousandths of an inch, and that's again the Light Elegance Perfect White. We'll check the mini. The mini cured almost to the point where there's no sticky residue at 33 thousandths of an inch. And with our special guest being present, let's go ahead and check the cure thickness here. I didn't get any, I got a slight residue, just a very slight residue. And that's at 38.5 thousandths of an inch. So the C&D light cured at 37 thousandths, the mini cures at 32 thousandths, and then the LED dot cures at 24 thousandths of an inch. So there is a significant difference between the dot and the C&D light, and a significant difference between the dot and the mini. With that understanding, let's go ahead and answer the question that some people have had regarding the curing ability of the mini, the dot, and the C&D light with C&D product. So this is the C&D shellac. It's a very nice pink. So we'll go ahead and cure those for 60 seconds, and we'll take a look. The other thing I thought might be good is that you have a couple of products that are on the market where you use gel and you glue a tip to the fingernail using the gel. Question in my mind was, if you're trying to cure the gel through the tip, how much UV light or how much curing light is blocked by the use of the tip over the gel, as opposed to just curing the gel itself. So with that, what we're going to do is I'll go ahead and use a UV sensor, and we'll measure the emittance from, say, the dot, and then put a tip on top of that sensor and measure the emittance. Actually, we're going to do that in reverse. We'll put the tip on top of the sensor, measure its emittance, and then remove the tip from the curing ability, so that we can actually numerically compare which one has a better, what the effect is of that tip on the ability of the light to penetrate through the gel. So this cured at 12.5 thousandths of an inch, and that was in the dot. We can go ahead and cure or measure the cure thickness in the mini. So it's cured in the mini at 15 thousandths. And we're going to go ahead and check the cure thickness in the C&D light, and we're at 15.5 thousandths. So the mini and the C&D light are pretty darn close. Is it a significant change between one and the other? Numerically, it's significant. Do you have to apply the gel a little bit thinner if you're going to use the mini? Probably be a good idea. But all in all, you'll get a good cure. The C&D light, the new one, actually has really good performance characteristics, and it's fairly impressive. So either one, I'd go with the mini to cure the C&D product, and I'd feel comfortable if I was applying the product, maybe the thickness of 2 sheets of paper. But if you're going somewhere around 3 sheets of paper to 4 sheets of paper, at 4 I'd be cautious. Where in the C&D light, 2 sheets of paper to 3 sheets of paper will certainly be fine. So that sheet of paper is about 4 thousandths of an inch, and we're talking about copy paper. So if you're curing this one here, 2 sheets to 3 sheets, you're 8 to 12 thousandths of an inch. 8 to 12 thousandths of an inch with this one will certainly be fine. Better off at 8 than at 12. And then here, 2 sheets of paper at 8 thousandths, you'll also be fine. I hope that's helpful. So here is what we are going to do. I'm going to turn the dot on. Firstly, I'm going to rotate it so I can look inside while I'm doing this. Let's go ahead and insert this. And I'm not going to change the position of the sensor. I put the sensor all the way into the back in the very center of the light. And Sean, we're looking at 6 thousandths of an inch. And I'm going to reach in and remove that tip. And now we're at 8.75. So we went from 8.75 down to 6 thousandths of an inch. So that's how much light this tip will absorb. So 2.75 milliwatts per square centimeter is quite a bit of light. If you take a look at 2.75 as a ratio or percentage of 8.75, you're looking at roughly 30%. So that's significant in my mind. Now, the next question you might want to ask yourself is, what would happen if we had gel underneath that tip? Well, I can't really put the gel under the tip and cure it without ruining my sensor, but I put gel on top of the tip. And it's about the same thickness as what you'd normally apply it to the fingernail, and then use that gel to adhere the tip to the fingernail. So my reading now is 5.3 milliwatts per square centimeter. Remove it. We should be back up to about 8.75 or 8.46, so about 8.5. Again, that's a significant change. So I'm not sure ultimately how much that could affect potentials for allergies, but the idea that you're using a gel and you're curing with a light, and the tip itself is going to block quite a bit of the curing ability of that light to cure the gel underneath the tip, to me, that's significant. So are you safer using, say, nail glue to put the tip onto the fingernail and then put gel over that, as opposed to using a gel underneath the tip? I'll leave that to you to make that recommendation on what's best for you and your clients. I personally feel more comfortable using nail glue than I do using gel to adhere the tip. So with that, in summary, the C&D light does a very good job curing all gels. Our dot does a very good job curing all gels, not as well as the C&D. Our dot mini is almost as good as the C&D light and I'd feel comfortable curing the C&D product inside the Dot Mini. With that, Jim McConnell, coming to you from Redmond, Oregon, LEHQ. If you have any questions, please go ahead and email us or pick up the phone and give us a phone call. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.